Liz, you believe in independence for Wales. Why do you think that's important for people in Wales?
Well, as things stand, you would wonder, where else are we going to grow Wales? How else are we going to grow our confidence? We know how this place, Westminster, treats us, and we're only going to have more of the same in the future. We know that we're losing more of our MPs than anybody else, just to point to one specific thing. You know, we're going to go down, we anticipate going down from 40 MPs to 32. There is nothing in that compared to the 350 MPs of England that gives us the chance of having a decent voice. But it's more than just sort of some of the simple figures like that. It's when you look in your heart and you're looking for the confidence for the future, and you want to have something better for your children, and you want to have something better for your communities, and you want to stop complaining all the time. You know, you want to stop putting your hand up and saying, us too, what about us, we're not being treated fairly. Let's just get on with it. Let's do it ourselves. Let's find the way of doing it ourselves. And to be continually told that we can't, that we're not good enough, you know, and that we should be grateful with what we get.
You're too small, too poor.
The same old argument that gets, and how you can see people internalising it, and how we can see that we're forever losing our young people away to somewhere else. You know, we're beautiful, but you can't live off the view. You know, we've got fascinating history, but you need to look into the future. And where else are we going to do it? And I think what's so exciting over the last few years with the growth of Yes Cymru, and also, interestingly, said through clenched teeth, the way that Labour in Wales have also begun to get their hands on this agenda, is that there's far more awareness of this now. If you're looking at, say, you know, there was an ITV poll back in March that said 39% of people were supportive of independence. If you're looking at, I think people between the age of 17 and 55 or so, 54, you're looking at 47% of interest there. What's really interesting is it's on people's agenda in, you know, over the last 3 years. Way more than it ever was before. It's not a certain political class or a certain interest and are talking to each other. This is something that you can talk about with people on the street, and they're beginning to ask perhaps quite probing questions, but it's a subject of conversation, and it's an option, and people are interested in it, and that's wow, that's exciting.
That is exciting for you. This episode obviously set up so that we can get the view from Wales and speak to you about that. You were talking about the attitude changing, that, you know, the demographic change that you're seeing in terms of people now, you know, showing the support for Wales having its independence. How do you feel the view has changed to Scotland becoming independent in Wales?
Oh, there's a real sense. I mean, you'd hear this from the First Minister, Labour's Mark Drakeford, down, and I think he was presenting something to the House of Lords today talking about the Union. This sense of far more than not just Plaid Cymru members who would have been involved with the 2014 referendum in Scotland, would have a long-term interest and a quite detailed knowledge of the SNP, of the independence movement, you know, who would be members, like I am, of the SNP as well. You know, it's that awareness that somebody like Mark Drakeford can be saying, look, if Scotland goes for independence, if independence occurs in Scotland, if we're looking at a united Ireland, you know, as we are, he's talking about this as a very real prospect. I'm saying that because it's interesting for me to be describing Mark Drakeford saying this. If we're looking at these big constitutional changes happening elsewhere in Scotland and the north of Ireland within the United Kingdom, then I think, you know, the interesting thing is that Labour are beginning to wake up and thinking, where are we left? Exactly. Well, of course, within Plaid Cymru, within the independence movement, we are striving for this, for those, what I would say are the more, the exciting reasons that we can build our confidence, that we can build a nation, that we can make Wales a better place than it presently is. I think Labour are coming at it from the sudden realisation of, if we lose Scotland, what hope have we of getting Westminster? And it's that sense of sudden panicking. How do we actually keep our grip on the powers that we presently have? I may be doing them a misfavour, but that is our experience of Labour in Wales.
I think you're pretty close to the mark from my
effectively,
my
they've been empowered in Wales in terms of representation for the last 100 years. And Wales is in the economic situation in which we find ourselves. And Labour cannot wash their hands of responsibility over that.